We continue our summer interview series. We have Samford Offensive Lineman hailing from Forsyth, Georgia, going on his sixth year in Homewood, Luke Byrne. Luke, how you doing, man? Welcome.
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am fantastic. We are hitting it off this year with our offensive line crew and a little sprinkle of D line, trying to give some love to our big men. Um, just Luke, we like to uh, we like to start from the beginning. We talk about childhood, growing up. We like to talk about Samford. So why don't we just hop into it, man? Let's talk about growing up. Where were you born? We can start there. We talked a little bit before. You can talk about where your parents are from. Fairly unique. I bet very few Samford students have that in common with you. But the floor is yours.
Yeah. Well, first of all, just appreciate you having me on. So I was born in Spalding County. Grew up in Fayette County until my freshman year of high school. Moved halfway through there. But where I call
Must be
home is
must be small towns if you're referring to them as counties. But yeah, keep going.
well, Fayette County's gotten a little bit bigger. But I moved to Forsyth halfway through my freshman year. And that's seriously where I call home.
Yeah.
Like I have so much love for that place, and it really just changed me into the man I am today. So I wouldn't call anywhere else home. But
And talk.
I get
What is Forsyth like? Is it big? I'm not too familiar. Like when we first started talking, I thought you were from Forsyth County, right? Not even Forsyth, Georgia. So, well, what is Forsyth like?
yeah. So I would say it's a decently small town. It's about 15 minutes north of Macon, where
Okay.
Mercer is, and then. I mean, the high school I went to, Mary Persons, is the only high school in the county, which so you
That's
get
telling.
you get a lot of good crowds
Sure.
on Friday nights, and then all my teammates who played at Dan Pitt Stadium say that we have some of the best Friday night lights in Middle Georgia that they've played at.
Dan
So
Pitt Stadium. All right, how many people are we packing into the pits?
I wish I had a correct number. I'd probably say like three, anywhere between 3 and 4,000.
All right, that's awesome, dude.
This was a pretty
Uh,
good crowd. I might be
who
way off though.
do you know who Dan Pitts is?
So he was actually one of the winningest head coaches in Georgia football, Georgia high school football, and
Okay.
he was a while before I was there. Right now, it's Coach Brian Nelson, but he was my strength coach's grandfather.
Wow.
So
All right. So the Pitts
family
family
ties,
lives on. Yeah, it's living on.
yeah, family
Um,
ties.
all right. So before we get to, we gotta go back to your parents. So we got to go back to your parents. So we were talking before, and tell everybody where your dad's from, but also where your mom's from and how they met. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, so my dad's from Jackson, Alabama, which is a small town in like southish Alabama. And my
Hmm.
mom's from a small town in Australia called Mount Gambier. And I get the question how they got over here a bunch. So
Yeah,
basically,
I'm sure.
yeah, my granddad, he owns his own like shipping company, and he just kind of settled. He brought uh, his wife, my grandmother, and then their two daughters, so my mom and my aunt, and then their son, my uncle. They all came over here and settled in a little town in Bolingbroke, and then they've been there for since before I was born. It's got to be at least 30-ish years, maybe a little bit more.
I love it. By this point, everyone would have heard uh, our conversation with Chris, and we were laughing at the fact that his mom was from Cali and his dad was from Burnt Corn, Alabama, and he lured her all the way over there. It's nice. Your dad didn't have to do any luring; she was already in middle of nowhere, Georgia. How did they meet?
So my dad was a sheriff's deputy in
Okay.
the same county that my mom was a nurse in, and she was the nurse at the county jail. So that's how they met. Yeah.
I
So it's
like
just
it.
your regular old fashioned love story, I guess, something like that.
Were they strict parents? I mean, a nurse and a police officer for parents. Like, what were the rules like growing up? Strict or
They weren't too crazy. I mean,
yeah?
my mom she loves to encourage me to have fun, and then my dad he gives me some fatherly advice every now and again whenever I step out of line, I guess.
I'm sure you're a good kid, which is why the heavy hand probably didn't come down too often. But all right, so talk to us. So you Forsyth, you said earlier before we started, you got there in ninth grade, right?
Yeah, halfway through my ninth grade year.
Okay, leading up to that, playing sports, were you playing everything, just football? Like what? Kind of talk to us about that.
So I've really only played football. I mean, I don't even remember this. I played soccer 1 year when I was 4, and my mom said that I would get in the game and then tell her I need to go pee just so I didn't have to run around. So I've really only just played football.
I love it. All right, so you're playing Pee Wee, flag, always on the line, or
Yeah, pretty much always on the line. Had a short stint where I played a little bit of defensive end, linebacker hybrid, because believe it or
okay.
not, I was kind of skinny growing up,
So
but
that
pretty much
you're
always on the line.
standing up there on the edge. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, standing up there on the edge. But I wouldn't say I was any good at it, but we did it.
So in middle school, were you always the bigger guy? Like when did you start just dominating physically?
No, actually, I was never like I've always been tall and like
Sure.
decently big, but I played my high school football my senior year of high school at 250, and I'm
At
three.
250?
Yeah, I'm 300 now. So, and then
Dude,
yeah, so I was actually like kind of a little bit smaller, but I was
you're
scrappy, man.
skinny.
Yeah, I was skinny. I miss looking like that with my shirt off, but definitely don't miss playing like that.
Because you're what, 6'4"?
Yeah, I'm about 6'4".
Yeah, 6'4", 250 in high school. I mean, yeah, you're not small. Like you're not walking out there like, oh, we got this guy. But at the same time, you're not 300, so they're not like, holy crap, here comes Luke freaking Byrne. Was y'all's team good?
Yeah, we were. I mean, I'm super proud of my high school career.
Yeah.
We went. So in the 4 years I was there, we went Elite Eight, Final Four, Elite Eight. So I mean, and
Dang.
then I think we held the longest streak for region champion. So we were pretty good.
Who was y'all's rival?
Our rival was Jackson High School. I mean, I wouldn't,
Jackson High School.
even though I call it my hometown, I do wish I would have grown up there from a young age. Because, like, for me, it wasn't even competitive, so I wouldn't really call it a rival.
Were they just trash? Like, why?
I wouldn't say they were trash. I mean, I hate to
I
be high
mean,
school Harry. I really do hate to be
but
high
they're
school
they're
Harry, but
trash.
they were. I mean, we had a really good football team, and I was blessed to be a part of it.
Look, dude, you're talking to a guy who had a terrible high school team. Well, we weren't terrible. We were like 500, but we never beat our rivals. And so I just like talking to guys that did. You gotta relish it. It's like, yeah, high school Harry, but you just gotta embrace it. So
But,
so Jackson, it's Jackson High.
yeah, yes, sir. I believe so.
All right, so Jackson High, y'all made the Final Four twice. In Georgia, do you play the Final Four in Atlanta? Like, how does that? When do teams get to Atlanta? Just the championship?
No, they used to play the Final Four in Atlanta, I believe, but now it's just whoever the higher seed is, you get home field advantage, and then you only play in the dome for the state championships.
Dang, so you never made it to the dome.
Yeah, that's probably one of my biggest regrets of my football career, which sucked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That was I grew up in Chattanooga, and that was always one awesome thing about Georgia was like in Tennessee they played at Tennessee Tech, and they played at I can't remember the other school, UTC.
Would y'all play at UT Martin?
No, it was
I was about
Tennessee
to say
Tech and
that's
someone else, but never Neyland, right? Never
yeah.
Nashville. So it was always cool because Georgia was the closest thing we heard of to Texas, where they get to go to Jerry World and play at the Cowboy Stadium. So we were always jealous of the Georgia guys. Now, granted, we never sniffed the state title game, much less the Final Four, but nonetheless. So your team is good. When did you start? When did you begin starting on the football team?
I didn't start until my junior year. I played a little bit my
Okay.
sophomore year, mainly just special teams, so field goal, and whenever we were winning, I got in, played a couple snaps, and then junior year, senior year, I started.
So when did you figure out you were good enough to go play college? And did you always want to play college?
Yeah, so I've always wanted to play college football. Naively, I thought I was good enough to play college football way before I should have. Like I wasn't doing what normal students do, applying to colleges when they should be, and so I just
Yeah.
kind of always assumed. Very dumb
Yeah.
now that I look back at it, but I just always assumed that I'd go play college football somewhere.
Where was the
But
dream? Like in middle school, you're talking to your buddies. It's Saturday. You're like, dude, I want to go play at Georgia. Like, what was your big dream school like that?
uh,
If you had
so
one.
middle school, uh, middle school, I probably would have told you Auburn because I'm still enamored by the kick six, even though I'm not an Auburn fan.
Yeah. It was a magical
Like,
moment, no doubt. No doubt.
yeah, I remember I was watching it, and I was talking to my stepdad, and he was saying like Alabama's going to win this game. Like, it doesn't matter. And then I was like, nah, like, Auburn's going to win this game. Like, because I always tend to root for the underdog. And
Sure.
boy, if they don't take it 109 yards.
All right, so Auburn, and then did it turn into anybody else?
Yeah, I'd probably say UGA now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like UGA in high school. I mean, it's tough. We had a guy 2 years older than me who's in the league now. He went to UGA, Malik Herring.
That's cool.
So it would have been nice to start a little pipeline, but I'm still a Bulldog one in another form.
Okay, so junior year rolls around. You're starting. You've been dreaming of playing college football, basically, your whole football career. When does the recruiting begin? Does it begin? Like how? Talk to us about how that process went.
Uh, so recruiting probably began going into the summer, going into my senior year. So I go to a camp at Shorter
Yeah,
University in Rome,
yeah,
Georgia,
yeah.
and they give me my first college offer, and super thankful for them. But then kind of process started from there, and it was kind of slow. And then I had a really good senior season, and it picked up from there.
That always helps. So, how much were
Yeah,
you weighing? I mean, what were your height? Still around 6'4"? What were you weighing by senior year? Still around 250?
yeah, I was probably 255, 260 maybe if I put
Okay.
a couple quarters in my pocket.
All right, so these
But
coaches saw potential. They're like, all right, we got a good frame here. We can put some meat on there. But so Shorter's the first offer. Um, are you going to camps? Are coaches coming? You got other guys on the team that coaches want to come see? Like how organic was it, so to speak?
yeah, so I mean, so we had a really good quarterback. We had in high school we had a running back that could roll. His name's Quinn Wilson.
Okay.
So we had, and then we had, I mean, the year before so this year like we got a running back going to Duke from my high school. So
All
I
right.
mean, and then 2 years before me, we had a guy go to Georgia. The year before me, we had a guy go to Mizzou. So I mean,
Okay.
college
You got
coaches
some
do work.
dollars. Yeah.
Yeah, college coaches were coming around, and I was just kind of lucky to be there. So
Dude, that's
people
half the
might,
battle. That's what look. You hope for the one star, so Kirby shows up, and they're like, "Oh, who's that guy playing tackle?" Oh, Luke Byrne. Dang, all right.
yeah. But so it kind of picked up after my senior season. Still mainly Division twos. So and then I was actually committed to West Georgia before
Really?
Coach Boss called me. That's actually a pretty good story.
Yeah, let's
Uh,
hear it. Let's hear it.
yeah, so
You're
I've been
funny.
getting recruited to mainly D2s. And then, so I go on a recruiting visit to West Georgia. and I love it. They have a really good program. I mean, you can see now they're moving up to FCS.
Yeah.
Uh, I thought I would love it there. Hindsight's 2020. I don't think I would have, but that's a story for another day. Um, Though seriously, the week after I go on my official visit to West Georgia, my head coach calls me and he's like, because I was working half days during the school year, my
Okay.
last semester of senior year, so I was in the work study program, so I was only at school for half a day, and then I'd drive to work. So my head coach calls me. I'm in the middle of work, and he's like, "Hey, Coach Boss from Sanford's up here. He wants to see you." And I was like, I'll see if I can get off. I don't know, because the week before, I took off work to go see a college coach, and there was like 10 of us in the room, and he barely spoke to me. So I didn't even end up leaving work.
Yeah.
My strength coach calls me, and he's like, "Hey, stay at work. Coach Boss is driving down to see you." And Coach
That's
Boss
different.
drives up.
That's different coming to
Yeah,
see you.
yeah, and I'm working at a landscape supply company, so I'm just on a front loader, picking up rocks and stuff like that. I get
I love it.
Coach Boss drives up in his truck, hops out, he shakes my hand, and he's just like, "Well, I just had to see you and get my hands on you and see what you look like now, because I gained like 30 pounds after the season ended, so I was actually something worth recruiting."
Was
Uh,
this was this one? This was after your senior season.
Yeah, so this is after my senior season. My
Okay.
my strength coach in high school, he was like, "You finally filled out. You don't look like a goofy kid anymore." So I finally filled out my frame a little bit. I was weighing around 285, 280. Coach Boss comes and see me, says he likes what he sees on tape. I'd finally gained a little bit of weight. Said he's going to go talk to the rest of the coaches and let me know something. And then at that time, they were my only Division One offer, and this was probably 3 weeks before signing day, so pretty late. So like 3 weeks before the second signing day, or
So
maybe a
hold
month.
on. How did Samford find out about you?
So I believe he was actually there recruiting next year's kids,
Oh.
and things had worked out to where they had a roster spot open for a lineman, because I think one kid came here and he didn't end up committing. So he was there recruiting next year's kids. Saw my tape. I gained a little bit of weight, and came. He drove to work and saw me. So no, he drove to work and saw me, and then I go on my official visit after that to West Georgia, and I loved it. And I hadn't heard from him in like a week, so I loved it at West Georgia. And like in the back of my mind, I was like, they're gonna give you a preferred walk-on spot. Like
Sure, sure,
that's not something that I could just necessarily afford. So
sure.
I commit to West Georgia, and no kidding, a day or two after I commit to West Georgia, uh, he calls me and he's like, "Hey, like I want to offer you a scholarship spot." And naive, dumb kid coming out of high school, like
Mhm.
I think football is all about loyalty, and it
It
is.
is, but
But when you're getting recruited, there are some aspects where you have to choose a home that's right for you.
yeah,
And so I think football is all about loyalty. And I go, "Hey, Coach Ball's like, thank you very much. Uh, but I'm committed to West Georgia." And like on the phone, he sounded like a little bit stunned, because there is a little bit of a difference between a D2 and a Division One football team, just like on the benefits you get and what your scholarship looks like. So next day I go to school, and I swear to you, every single football coach I have pulls me aside in the hallway, and they're like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And I stay strong, and I'm like, I'm a West Georgia Wolf. Go West, go Wolves! And finally, I'm sitting in math class, and small town, you get a couple perks being on the football team. My head coach calls me out of class. I was probably learning algebra or something like that. He calls me out of class into the ISS room where he worked half the day, and the other half he was the AD, so he attended to some business up in the field house.
love
So
it,
he
love it.
pulls me out of class, and he looks me in the eyes, and he goes, I don't want you to shut a door before you see what's behind it. And I said, you're right. He calls Coach Boss on the school telephone. Coach Boss picks up, and basically my head coach says, "Hey, like Luke's still interested. If you still got a roster spot for him, like he'd love to come on a visit." Thank the Lord, honestly. Like that's seriously nothing but God. So Coach Boss says, "Yeah, come on a visit," and probably I seriously can't imagine going any other place than Samford.
All right, so tell us about the visits. All right, so it's kind of funny. All the coaches are like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" So you take the visit. What sold it?
What sold it was it's a beautiful campus, amazing academics, and small classroom sizes. And then I like Birmingham. I like that I was in a bigger city, but not some place like Atlanta or
Sure.
New York. Like I think Birmingham's probably, if I wanted to live in a city, this would be like the max I would go. It's like you have everything that a big city needs, but a little bit less of the problems.
I love how you say if I want to live in a city.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
I don't
go
think
ahead.
that's going to end up being for me, but I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
Luke, I love that. All right, so you get to Sanford. You're a freshman, sophomore. What is it like being young on the football team? You were on, so let's see, you entered 2019.
Yeah,
So
2019.
Liam
Yeah,
Welch was the quarterback.
yeah. So my first year, it was Liam Welch and Chris Oladokin.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So I got to see those two battle at it. Those are two studs in their own rights.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wish the season would have gone a little bit better, but I mean,
It could have.
I was just happy to be on the team. I didn't even sniff the field my freshman year. Rightfully so.
Sure.
I probably things might have gone a little bit worse. You know what I'm saying?
That's funny. All right. Talk about being a Sanford football player. So you experienced some interesting times, not only COVID, but the historic run in 2022, um, the last year's disappointment. Although a couple plays go our way, it's a completely different narrative for last year.
Yeah.
Kind of you get to witness the birth of the true transfer portal era. Kind of just walk us through what it's been like. I mean, you've been there 5 years so far, going on your sixth. You've seen some stuff, man.
Yeah, I mean, I should start writing on scrolls and become a team historian. I've been here so long. But 2019 was definitely surreal going from high school football to Division One college football. Uh, I mean, just your day to day is just totally different. Like high school football, as organized and as good as my program was, like I think it's very hard to stack up high school football and college football. Just there's you're never gonna you're never gonna end your day at 3 o'clock and then stay there until 6:30, 7, 8 in high school football, plus meetings, plus team meetings, position meetings, special teams meetings. Like just so hard to replicate that at the high school level. So got used to that and kind of learn the ropes of the college offense and just kind of really big learning period for me. So wasn't playing, didn't play a single snap my freshman year, like I said before, which is probably for the best. But I definitely learned a lot, and I didn't travel with the team, so I got to be a college kid on weekends and
That's nice.
root for the boys from the comfort of my couch,
Mm-hmm,
which
mm-hmm.
for I think in today's day and age probably should be a little bit more. I mean, unless you're a stud, I think red shirt should probably be more of a thing. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing. I mean, taking a whole season to just learn and get practice and I didn't want to do this, but get on my soapbox a little bit. Like that's something that the transfer portal has kind of robbed us of is the development of kids and athletes. Because if you're not playing after your freshman year, young naive me, if the transfer portal was big, then like I would have been dumb enough to hop in it. But probably a blessing that I really got to sit on the sidelines and learn what I should be doing and not just think that I should be out there.
Dude, that's what's crazy. I was an idiot when I was 18, 19, 20.
Yeah.
And guys like you, it's like, look, you have all of this athletic ability and you see limitless potential, quote unquote, limitless potential in the portal, and you hop in it, and then you flush down the toilet all opportunity to stay someplace, get rooted, get developed personally, physically. And for what? Like,
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to sit here and just bash the portal because, I
I
mean,
mean,
the portal's
we
brought me,
can, but no.
yeah, the portal's brought me some of my best friends. And I think,
Yeah.
like, Michael
There
Hyatt,
are
you're not
pros.
sitting, yeah, we're not sitting here with the SoCon championship ring
Well,
if Michael hires it.
we don't need the portal to hire. He's a traditional JUCO guy. Like
Yeah,
JUCOs are
I guess that's
alive and
true.
well. We love the JUCO guys. Josh
Yeah.
Rodriguez in baseball, hires in football.
What about
DK.
the anchor of the offensive line, Chris Noble, coming down the street from
Right.
UAB? Yeah,
Now
but
look, that's a transfer gift right there. We'll take the portal
yeah,
all day long. But even then, I don't know what the rules are, but he was a preferred walk on. So still not a scholarship guy. I don't know. I think you had to get a waiver maybe back then, assuming that the transfer portal wasn't in place. So still, look,
yeah.
man, we can wiggle our way around here. We can bash the portal a little bit.
No, I think there's a time and place for it because I think one, it's allowed us to really expand who we would recruit. Because I mean, when I was coming in,
For sure.
my freshman year, we brought in one JUCO guy, and like all the older guys were like, "That's weird." I mean, we mainly just recruited out of high school, so now we're able to get guys that are FBS bounce backs and some kids that we wouldn't really be able to recruit when I was a freshman. So I do think, and I will say, like it does allow kids to go and see that there might be greener grass on the other side, but do think that that's sometimes a lie that's fed to kids that there's always greener grass on the other side. So I think it's a fine line, and thank God it's not up to me to figure it out because I think it's kind of it's in shambles right now,
Yeah.
to put it nicely. But I think there's definitely pros and cons. But so luckily I stayed here. Didn't have the option to get salty and get my panties in the wad and hop in the transfer portal after
Yeah.
my freshman year. But my freshman year was pretty fun. I had a lot of fun. Made some great friends. Rooted on the boys from my futon. Sophomore year was COVID. And COVID was actually, I'm not gonna lie, COVID besides the SoCon championship year was probably one of my funnest years of football
Really?
because you got the fall, you got to be a regular college kid because you had no clue what was going on. Well, our season was canceled, so we were getting Friday afternoon. You get off until Monday. So I mean, I got to go. I think I went to UGA one weekend for a game. I went to
Love it.
Auburn one
Love it.
weekend for a game. Went to Alabama one weekend for a game, which is an experience that hopefully no FCS football player ever has to live again. But seriously, got to just be a college kid and
It's fun,
go
isn't it?
and yeah, and I got to watch College Game Day other than the 45 minutes we watch it on the way to a stadium.
Right. Speaking of, you excited for NCAA when it comes out this summer?
I think I might buy one of the deluxe editions just for the 3-day head start.
Dude, that's what I'm talking about. I'm like, I got to pay basically $10 a day premium to get early access. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's 65 days away. I'm pretty excited for it.
Who
I don't
who you're
think my
gonna run with
roommates will see
first in
much.
Dynasty?
I don't know. I saw a video today saying that Kennesaw State's a good one. because they'd be the toughest to rebuild. But I don't know. I don't know if I could do that one. I think Georgia Southern.
It's gross. Yeah, that'd be fun. UAB would
Georgia
be fun.
Southern would be good. Yeah, I don't think I could do Kennesaw State. Georgia Southern would be fun. I don't know.
I guess Jacksonville State's in there too, but
yeah,
Jacksonville State and Kennesaw it's a little dirty. You don't want that.
Yeah, a little too close to home. But I think Georgia Southern might be a good one to start on Dynasty.
I like that. Bring back the glory days of the FCS when they were just winning natties. Yeah, dude, that's going to be – I'm with you. I mean, okay, my family will see me, but I think all my social activities will be canceled in the evenings when that game comes out. So one question I had for you, Luke, personally, how do you think you have changed, especially like in light of being a football player in the football program? How do you think you've grown from a personal standpoint during your time at Samford?
I mean, all aspects of my life. Like seriously, I don't think there's a part of my life that these 5 years at Samford haven't changed. Luckily I've matured a little bit. Still pretty goofy, but I've matured a little bit. I came to truly know God at Samford and became a true Christian through guys on the football team. So spiritually, I've grown so much and I'm so thankful for.
That's amazing.
Like I mentioned to you earlier, like I've met guys on this team that'll probably, I'd say 90% of my groomsmen would be former teammates on this team. So I've made lifelong friendships both on and off the field. I think it's hard pressed to find an area in my life that Samford hasn't touched.
Yeah, that's what you want, right? Like that.
Yeah.
For all the sacrifice you have to give to be a Division I football player, that's what you want to hear, especially as a fan. Like I want all you guys to have that kind of experience. So, is there a particular game or particular moment where, maybe in 20 years you're going to look back and be like, man, like that was sweet?
I think it's hard not to say. I think when you think about the SoCon champion season, everyone remembers Mercer and fans storming the field and Quincy walking it off. And it's a beautiful game. But my favorite moment in Samford history is when we go into Chattanooga. Everyone's favoring them to beat us. I think we were 14-point dogs. We go in there and we seriously take it to them for the majority of the game. And to end the game, we rattle off an 8-minute drive. As an air raid team who's known for being the fastest team in the country, we rattle off an 8-minute drive. So I think that's probably my favorite moment of my career.
I think Kendall Watson had 100 yards by halftime. I mean, we scored 21, 28 unanswered, opened up a can in that first half. And then, as you said, it's like, all right, we can do what we want to end the game. 8-minute drive. Like, that's dominating football. That's offensive line driven football right there, baby.
That's probably my favorite game. And that season is, I'll probably tell my grandkids about it. They'll tell me to shut up or something when I'm that old.
No, that was a special season. I mean, opening it up with Kennesaw State, not really knowing as a fan, I didn't know how good we were going to be. And Kennesaw didn't end up being that good, but they were top 10 preseason, and then we go in there and win, set the tone. Played well against Georgia, all things considered, right? Like it wasn't that was one of the most dominant college football teams in history, and we didn't get embarrassed. So that was a special time.
As a team, we didn't. I had a couple plays.
That entire defensive line went pro, dude. It's all good.
Yeah. I was going up against Jalen Carter, and I had the audacity. All my buddies know this story that's coming, but oh my goodness, I'm so embarrassed about it to this day.
Let's hear it.
So I think the first two drives, we have a 3-and-out. Coach Hatch comes over, and to be totally honest with you, we walk in the UGA locker room, we get off the bus, and I'm about to puke. I'm so nervous. but I kind of settle into the game, and I'm hyping myself up. 3 and out on the first drive. Hatch walks over. How they looking? I was like, man, they're soft. They're soft. And I'm just outrageously talking crap. And next drive, I swear I give up 2 quarterback hits. And Hatch walks over, and he is like, he's so mad at me. He's like, did you really think they were soft? And I swear I learned a valuable lesson that day. I don't care if we're playing the some high school academy for the deaf and blind. They might be the best team.
Yeah.
If Coach Hatch ever asked, they might be the best team I've ever faced. So I learned a valuable lesson that
day. Coach, they're amazing. I haven't seen
they're good.
Better.
Kids are
awesome. I love that you're like, yeah, they're soft.
Yeah, and I'm going up against probably the most dominant college football player of the season.
Yes.
The man that held up Jaden Daniels with one arm to win during the SEC championship.
He went into the NFL and dominated his first season. Like, that dude is different. But he's soft. He's soft. I'm with you. He's soft.
He's definitely not, man. He might still give me nightmares. I might go to bed and dream about him tonight, man.
That's pretty funny. Luke, what did you study? So you've graduated. You're working on your master's. What was your undergrad in?
So I got my undergrad in history.
Interesting choice. What are we focusing on here? Like, what kind of history is it? How does that work? Do you pick certain elective? Like, you can't just it's not just like history. That's a lot of information, right?
So my degree is just a Bachelor of Arts in History. I was originally in history education and switched because I realized that I had to take less hours. Hindsight, I probably shouldn't have, just so I could get my teaching certificate. But I'm still young and dumb. In a lot of ways, I still am. But most of my classes that I took were focused on American history, and I'd probably say that's what I'm most interested in.
That's cool. Any particular era or area?
I think it's hard. So my favorite class that I've taken, my most interesting class, was a class that I took on the Civil Rights Movement. A lot of interesting stuff that I didn't know, but probably my favorite era of history is probably World War II. Just so much stuff goes on.
That to me, that Civil War and Civil Rights era, Civil Rights Movement, those 3 subjects were by far the most fascinating to me.
Yeah.
I was not a history major, but I was 1 class short or 2 classes short of a minor. There's no incentive to get one. So you're getting a master's. What is that going to be in?
I'm getting my master's in environmental management.
Okay. Why? Why environmental management?
To be truthful with you, it's an all online master's degree. So I kind of don't really have to go up to the school. I wanted to get my master's degree in physical education. I want to get my master's degree in physical education, but the way Samford has their program set up, we couldn't make it work with the NCAA hours.
Talk to us about where you're eating, dude. So it's Birmingham. Food is good. You're coming here from Forsyth. No knock on Forsyth, but I'm sure the culinary options are not as extensive as Birmingham.
We got Hamburger Hill, which has pretty much every fast food restaurant that you could dream of.
Hold on, dude.
Besides, does have some good cooking.
I take that back. You got a place called Hamburger Hill. That's what
it's referred to as, because we're
4 burger spots up there, 5 .
Yeah, we're right off the interstate, so a bunch of fast food restaurants have just settled there, and I swear there's probably every fast food restaurant that could be there is there, besides maybe an In-N-Out, which don't have in Georgia.
So it's like Wendy's, Mickey D's, Burger King.
Yeah.
Sonic.
Got all those. We do not have a Sonic. We got Taco Bell. We got a Hardee's.
Hey, Hardee's is goated right there. Out of that little group right there.
They do have an underrated breakfast. I will give you that.
Oh, it's the
Hardee's has
best
an
fast food breakfast outside of Waffle House isn't fast food, but
yeah,
Hardee's biscuit, hard to beat.
yeah, very hard to beat.
Now Bojangles would try. They try, and they make a good run. But it's hard to say. All right. So Birmingham, food. Your buddy Chris Noble gave us Chipotle, and we said try again. So where are we going, Luke?
Yeah, I'm interested to hear his second answer, but I did not realize this until probably a couple years ago. But if you asked me my favorite spot in Birmingham, I would have said Jack Brown's. I didn't realize they were a small chain, but
Yeah, but that place is amazing.
that's my favorite restaurant in Birmingham. And then here recently, I've been eating at a place on Green Springs called Tacos Don Tacho.
Okay,
It's delicious.
all right.
Yeah, it's a
Taco
little
on Tacho.
yeah, it's a delicious little Mexican spot.
We're here. Look, we love the little Mexican spots. Um, some of those were our go tos. I don't know if any of us had been to. Hold on, say it again. Tacos.
Yeah, Tacos Don Tacho. It's pretty new, actually. It's over there right next to Wings Plus.
Yeah.
I don't know
Well,
what
we
was
hit up
there
Wings Plus
before.
all the time.
Oh, yeah, that's also
I
a
think
good spot.
if it's right next door, I think a GameStop used to be next door.
Yeah, so there's still the Domino's, the GameStop, and then there's on basically that same building, but on the other side is the
Gotcha.
Tacos Don Tacho.
That's a nice spot. I mean, because like your boys could show up. It's like, all right, I want tacos. Well, I want wings. It's like perfect. This little
Yeah, you
strip is
just
made
meet.
for us.
Yeah.
Plans after Samford. So you're getting your master's in a degree you don't care about because it's online only. But no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, I care about wearing a cloak here next spring. Care about that one.
Look, dude,
Care about taking
you're
pictures of my.
you're a fascinating cat. It's all like the Masters is all about the prestige. I'm here for it, dude. I'm here for it.
Yeah. Well, I definitely think it's a huge honor to be able to leave a college with 2 degrees, hopefully
Yes.
2 rings, and a whole lot of friends. So it's been like
That's a dub.
this might be a recruiting pitch for the next brand of Bulldogs because I've just gone on here and just talked about how good Samford is.
It's fantastic. All right,
Yeah.
so after Samford, what does Luke Byrne want to do? Goals, aspirations, short term, long term.
Long term, I think I really want to get into college football coaching. So that might be long term and short term, depending on how things
Wow,
work out. I will
that's a calling, dude. That's a grind.
very, very much so.
Sheesh,
Also, when you first start out, it's not the best money. So
dude, it's
being
not
in
the
college,
best money for a long time.
yeah, for at least the first couple years. If you're really good, you can start getting paid in 3 years or 4 years. But short term might look a little bit different just because I've been in college 6 years. I might have to go make a couple dollars before I do something. But
Dollars are handy in this country.
yeah, just a couple of them. You need them. uh, but so that's kind of the long term goal. Short term,
Yeah.
still trying to figure it out. Blessed enough to meet a lot of people here. So I don't think I think the Samford degree and also the people I've met just in Birmingham. I don't think I'll be just short on options, which really just means a lot to me.
Are you pushing for the NFL?
Uh, I've been super realistic about my football career. I think if we can cap this one off with another SoCon ring, I'd be more than happy to dust the cleats off and hang them up. I'm pretty realistic about my football career.
So, I mean, dude, no Canada? Isn't there football Europe or something?
I'm not gonna say if opportunity presented itself that I wouldn't take it, but I mean, there are guys a lot better than me, look a little bit better, both
I hear
on and
you.
off the
I hear you.
field.
I hear
So
you.
I'm super realistic about my playing career, and if football were to end after this season, I wouldn't cry. I wouldn't shed a tear about it.
Yeah. No, that's healthy because there's a lot of guys out there that don't have a real perspective. It hampers them. It holds them back from the inevitable. So no, that's more power to you. So when you're talking about options, being a little vague here, what are we like short term? We want to be a grad assistant at Samford, or we want to.
Yeah. So I've loved Hatch. I would love to coach for him. I could definitely see myself doing that right after the football season.
Okay.
I mean, I'd say that might be a front runner. I could see myself settling down for a couple years and trying to coach high school football in either back home or the Birmingham area. And then I could also see myself just surrendering to corporate America and trying to get a sales job and make a little bit of money.
Yeah, you're talking to someone who has bent the knee to corporate America. But two of my best buds back home, they went down the high school football route. They love it. They're probably going to do it for 50 years. So you don't really like, this is America. There's a lot of wrong decisions out there. What you have said so far, no wrong decision.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. So now, in between now and then, I just gotta find how not to mess it up. So I think we'll be all right.
Oh, and you'll mess it up. You'll mess it up plenty.
Yeah.
Look, survive in advance, baby. So, all right, we're 20 years down the road, Luke. You are the hot shot offensive line coach. Let's say you're the Sharon Moore of Michigan, right? College football coaching carousel is hopping. Where dream college coaching gig right now?
Dream? Like absolute top of the top. I mean, it's hard not to say go and learn from Kirby on how to build the most successful program in college football, and then try and fall in line and take that one over.
Have you talked to Lewis Freeman? He was
so he was our DOFO for the past 2 years, and then I played with him his last year.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Y'all overlapped. Okay. Makes sense. Because he went over to Georgia for a couple of years to see their operations.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So it's a good learning ground.
Yeah, it's you definitely learn how to be the best. I bet it's pretty intense over there. But
I cannot imagine. I cannot. But hey, takes what it takes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, yes, sir, most definitely. So I think that's hard not to beat. But also, there's something I do have a soft spot for Samford. So it would be nice to get a couple of the buddies who've gotten into coaching, like Ty Hatcher, Peter Nkowski, and come back and try and win a national championship here at Samford. So
okay, wait, hold on. Ty's at Oklahoma right now, right?
Yeah, Ty's at Oklahoma.
Who's the other guy you just said? Peter
Nkowski has been I played with him for 4 years, and then he's been GA at Samford, and then I might have to. Well, right now I think he just got announced as the tight ends coach, so he's seriously worked his way up
at Samford.
Yeah, at Samford.
Dude, okay, look, I'm biased here. I'm biased. A coaching gig on Samford, especially like head coach, but really any position, got to be one of the best college gigs out there. In terms of, you're probably not working the same hours as a Georgia. You're working a lot of hours, but not probably the same ones as a Georgia. Birmingham is an affordable place to live. And you get to work at Samford.
Yeah. I bet it's a great gig.
Because there's some crappy FCF schools out there. Like, not everything is nice, and not every place has nice people. It's a good gig.
I bet it's a great gig. So I definitely, if Hats were nice enough to keep me around, I don't think it'd be pretty hard to turn down.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, Luke,
Also,
is
just
there? Oh, go ahead, dude. Go ahead.
oh, my bad. But
No,
also
you
just
go.
learning how to run an offense from hatch probably wouldn't look bad on a resume.
Yeah. So talk about that. Your offensive line. Um, how long would you want to be an offensive line coach? Do you want to be an offensive line coach before you became an offensive coordinator? Like what? How does that kind of career work, and how would you ideally make it happen?
Ideally, ideally, I don't know if I would ever not be an offensive line coach.
Okay.
I think once you get pretty high up in football, you start dealing with a lot of things that aren't football anymore.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
I don't know if I'd ever want to deal with that. Uh, so I think probably offensive line, maybe run game coordinator would probably be my cap. Uh,
Anything you want to throw in there? Any shout outs? Who's your roommate? Anything.
uh, I mean, I guess if I have the platform, so I roomed
This is
with
your
Miles
platform.
Morris.
Okay.
Yeah, I roomed with Miles Morris all 4 years of undergrad. He's gone on and just got his MAC from UGA, so super
Right
happy
on.
Samford gave me him. And now I'm living with Jalen Rainey, a transfer from Dartmouth. All the State of the Bulldogs fans can have a watch for him. I think he's going to be a
Love
stud.
it.
I'm
Love
living
it.
with Joel DeCourcy, from a transfer from Vanderbilt.
Okay.
He just rehabbed from an ACL injury that happened last season. I think he's going to come out and be a really good player for us. But
What
my two
position?
biggest, he plays tight end.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he'll walk into this room and his head will hit the ceiling. He's like 6'7". He's huge.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah. And then probably my two biggest shout outs. I know you said asked me earlier before we hopped on the recording. Give a shout out to people outside of Samford that mean the most to you. I'd probably
Yeah.
say my mom. You know, raising me as a single mother for my entire life. I think she's definitely had the biggest impact on me and probably one of my best friends.
That's
And
awesome.
then my high school offensive line coach, Coach Jay, he's also really the sole reason why I want to get into high school, why I even thought about getting into football coaching. I mean, he's had probably a bigger impact than what he knows.
Coach
But
Jay.
that's all the shout outs that I got. Well, I guess I'll shout out the entire Sanford staff. Thank you for keeping me around. Thank you for keeping me around for 5 years.
Yeah, I'm sure you're easy to keep around. Well, Luke, thank you for joining. It was a pleasure hearing about your story so far at Samford, and we're excited to see how the season unfolds and how your life progresses from here.
All right, thank you. It's been awesome. Thank you for having me.
You're always welcome, man. Luke Byrne,
Yes, sir.
everybody. Samford Offensive Line. Be on the lookout for number 54 this year. State of
Yes,
the
sir. Go
Bulldogs.
Dogs.
Go Dogs is out.